into? Let's get into leveraging social media platforms. Not that it's all about social media platforms, guys. Obviously, a huge part in this day and age of building and scaling your personal brand. You're going to have a hard time if you're not relevant on social media, especially if you're starting from scratch. Now, there are other ways to do this, of course. Not everyone has to utilize social media. They can build their personal brand behind the scenes through the different social circles they have, through their working environment, the industry they're in, build a name like that. But obviously it helps to leverage social media as well. Ideally, you have both, right? Ideally, you are congruent in your personal, business, online persona. The people, not that you have to be, but the people who are very successful at personal branding, it's all about congruency, right? Gary Vee keeps popping into mind, and like it or not, he's still one of the biggest personal brands out there. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's like a motivational speaker. And whether you're talking to Gary, it's a good example of congruency and authenticity, actually. Whether you're talking to Gary one-on-one, behind closed doors, or he's talking to his family, or he's at a business event, a function, hanging out with friends, or on social media, it's the same voice, it's the same brand, it's the same personal brand, right? So always heavily lean into, and I will always promote heavily leaning into being very congruent and authentic across everything you're doing. Now, there are always exceptions to the rule. You'll hear me say that all the time, but generally, the more you can do that, the more you will win. What are the right platforms for you guys? What are the right platforms? So you do want to test and iterate and experiment with all of them. See where you get the most traction, because you might be thinking, oh, it's all about Instagram, when actually maybe you've got like an older demographic of CEOs in the health and nutrition space, and you'll actually find that the majority of them and where you get the most engagement is actually Facebook. Whereas you could be thinking, oh, right, I'm a I keep using this example of like a fitness skateboarder, or getting fit through skateboarding as a random idea, and it keeps popping around in my head. Maybe it's telling me I need to start leveraging or leaning into being a skateboarding influencer. I mean, I only skateboarded for a few years when I was 13 to 17, but I'd probably hurt myself pretty badly if I jumped on a skateboard right now. But well, we don't know. I might give it a go. But the whole point, guys, is I might be thinking Instagram's the best place if I'm trying to target like Gen Z and trying to get them fit through skateboarding, when in actual fact, TikTok might be the best place to get the most traction for a brand like that. I'm not sure, and I won't know until I actually test that out. So the point of this little rant here is, don't come to too many predetermined destinations in terms of like, all right, well, I know I am this personal brand. I know that this will work best on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever you're doing. You don't know that for a fact until you actually test it. So as a mentor of mine always says, those who experiment the most tend to win the most. And you don't know where your audience will be the most receptive until you're testing it. So Instagram, obviously a big part of Instagram is visual content. It's a younger audience compared to Facebook, but an older audience compared to TikTok generally, right? So you do need to think about this and test. You also don't necessarily want to post the exact same content. You can over all platforms, but also think one level deeper and what type of content will work the best based on the audience and the platform that you're using, right? So Instagram, it's like visual content, very much based around reels and stories. LinkedIn is a little more B2B, business to business, even though it can be B2C, business to consumer as well. But it's a much more professional environment, right? Its whole thing is about networking. So take that into account when you're testing on LinkedIn. TikTok, it's all about the short form videos, right? It's a much younger audience, Gen Z, millennials, whatever the new generation is. I'm not even sure. It's like Gen Y or something. But they're on TikTok. So talk to them in that language in a way that will really resonate with them. Follow the trends. You should be on all these platforms. Not that I'm advocating that you should be on social media all day. Absolutely not. I actually fundamentally agree with that. I disagree with that, believe it or not. But if you are wanting to build on social media, you should dedicate a little bit of time, at least per day, doing research. Now, there's a difference between doing social media for research and doing it just because you're going down a TikTok black hole and just endlessly scrolling for hours. Not productive. If you're doing it with a goal in mind of building a business and your personal brand, I think that gets a pass, right? So, but don't just be on social scrolling for hours and telling yourself you're doing market research if you're not even active listening and having your ear to the ground and really paying attention. So I guess I'm saying it's all right to be on social media for a little bit if you're doing it for the right purposes. There you go. Twitter, or X as it now called, as the great Elon Musk is now rebranded. Love him or hate Elon Musk. You can't say he's not an incredibly interesting and polarizing character. I myself am a fan. I know not everyone is. Twitter really responds, or X really responds to real-time updates. And positioning yourself as like a thought leader, sharing great articles, generating great articles. Not that it always has to be articles. You can just generate image posts with great captions, whatever it may be. But have the end in mind when you're posting on these different platforms. Have a strategy. Cool. Speaking of strategies, so some of the more specific strategies, again, like Instagram, I mentioned, it's you use Reels for reach, you can use stories for engagement, strategic hashtags. I may even do a separate lesson on hashtags specifically and how to get the most. A lot of people are still confused on, like, do they even work? Yes, there are ways to use hashtags that are effectively. And high quality visuals on Instagrams as well. Sorry, I keep realizing I keep hitting my hoodie's zip and it's probably coming through on the microphone. LinkedIn, like I said, it's great sharing great articles that are relevant to you and your personal brand and what you're trying to grow. Don't just share random stuff that has nothing to do with what your goals and your mission and your values are. Make it all, you'll get sick of me saying congruent and authentic. But if me saying them a million times gets them through and internalizes them a little bit, then I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Engage with the groups, on LinkedIn as well. Don't just randomly just go around liking everything. Do real engagement. Post during business hours. For TikTok, out of all of the platforms, I would say, ironically, it's one of the most authentic. Because the younger generations, again, this pendulum swinging back of the fakeness of the last couple of decades to more real, authentic stuff. Like, you'll see, if you see like an ad on TikTok that is even somewhat salesy, it'll jump on. And if it's salesy in a very like disingenuous way, like I've seen some of those ads where, oh, it's terrible. They're trying to prey on people's emotions in totally the wrong way about like a family member dying, and it's like this crappy visuals sketched into some type of snow globe or something. I'm kind of making this up, but I've seen stuff like this, and you just know it's so fake and it's not real, and you question if anyone's even really like passed on, and the comments just absolutely obliterate and annihilate them. So TikTok is more sensitive to being real and authentic. So when you're posting there, keep that in mind. And also probably the most place where you'll get the fastest trolls. And guys, if you're trying to do great things, I've said this a couple of times, I may even do a lesson specifically on trolls, right? Because it's impossible to avoid them. If you're doing great stuff, and by the way, guys, I keep looking into the camera over here because I've got a camera here as well, so I'll keep darting between. But you've got to build trolls into the blueprint. You can't do great things without ticking a few people off here and there, and trolls are just there to reflect their own insecurities and try and make you feel bad. So sometimes it's hard to not subscribe to that emotion of being jaded a little bit by them, but just know that you don't worry about it. You're gonna get them, build it into the blueprint. Just keep in mind, like, just know that they are just emanating their own insecurities, right? Blast through it. You're gonna do great things. Don't let people hold you back. I don't want to get too emotional or what's the word, like woo-woo, but it's very true, guys. Very, very true. So TikTok, yeah, all about authenticity, creative content, follow the trends. It helps to use the in-app editing of TikTok. I believe that's even integrated into the algorithm so far. I can't prove that, but I think it is. The more you kind of use the platform, the better the algorithms will reflect. With X, be timely, use Twitter Spaces. I'm not sure if they've changed it to X Spaces now. Create in-depth threads. Just a couple of quick strategies you can use, guys. Algorithm insights, right? So look where you can get data, do look at it, start getting familiar with it. Don't need to jump in and know everything straight away. But for Instagram, you can check out the engagement on the carousel post, your reels. It helps to respond quickly to comments when people comment on your posts. The more and the faster you respond, again, the more it helps the algorithm. I can't prove that, but it's generally known that that's a fact. LinkedIn, make your interactions meaningful. Don't just comment and like very nonchalantly or or not caring about it. The more effort and integrity and authenticity put into it, again, it should reflect in the algorithm and your growth and traction. TikTok, early engagement, with the people commenting on you, it's the same thing. It's crucial for reach, especially on something like TikTok. X promotes and really likes regular activity, regular posting, using a lot of hashtags, frequently tweeting as well. All comes back to consistency, guys. So have a bit of a strategy. And please don't get overwhelmed with anything I'm saying here. If you're just starting out, maybe that we have a different variance and degree of people coming in here. Maybe you've never used some of these platforms before and you're just looking to get started. Maybe you've been posting for years and everything I'm saying to you is already second nature. If you're just getting started, don't worry about it. Just start a little bit of action a day, right? A little bit of something that you hadn't previously done before. Just get into that rhythm. Start slow, get the reps in, and then soon it'll become automatic. You can also hire a VA to do a lot of this for you. Again, not a bad idea for a lesson, how to effectively use a VA to take a lot of the weight off for you. You can hire incredible VAs. We use incredible VAs all over the world for very cost effectively because of exchange rates. They're getting paid fantastically. You're getting incredible value for what you're paying them. And everyone's happy. So VAs is not a bad way to go. Organic and growth tips, right? So the best way for organic growth is just consistency. You can talk to anyone that's grown a big following organically. Consistency wins through. It's like consistency at the top, authenticity, posting relevant stuff of real value. But if you're doing all that, the simplest word to think of is consistency. And if you can, across as many platforms as possible. There are exceptions to the rule. There are big influencers that literally only use Instagram, but generally posting across all of them not only is a great way to start, but you can see where you're getting the most traction. And the scientific approach is like, all right, well, do an experiment with all the platforms, post different content. Where are you getting the most traction? Where are you getting the most interaction? Where are you getting the most engagement? Double down on there. And then you can start moving away or iterating and evolving and adapting the stuff that's not working. And if you're constantly doing that, guys, if you're still following this train of thought, hypothetically, it's very hard to fail. If you're constantly iterating and pivoting towards what's working and moving away from what's not, kind of goes without saying a little bit. And then obviously there's targeted ads and paid ads, a whole other ball game and rabbit hole we can jump down on another lesson. So key takeaways here, guys. Understand your audience, tailor your approach for each platform, and balance organic and paid strategies if you're at that point. If you're new, I'm not telling you to jump in and start doing paid traffic and build funnels straight away. That will come with time, guys. Step by step. Don't try and swing for the fences for a home run straight out of the gate. First, you want to get to base 1, base 2, base 3, if that's what they're even called. I don't play baseball, but I think that analogy works. All right. Again, I thought this was going to be a short lesson with 15 minutes in. Hopefully that helps, guys. See you on the next one.